Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to another Limbus Company video. Today we're going to be beating the new boss fight using the ring identities to kind of showcase how this team actually works. If I'm being completely honest, I did want to initially just do this fight with only the new ring identities of Rhodia and Merceau, but this fight's a little too hard to beat with that little amount of identities, at least without using the Durante effects. Like, if I wanted to use the Durante effects, I probably could have done it, but I just didn't want to do it for some reason. And basically, what makes this fight so difficult is the fact that there is just a lot of unbreakable coins. And that's important because all of these Fauvist identities, or Fauvist ring characters, they all benefit from having a lot of negative status effects on the character they're attacking. And they also specifically have very lingering status effects that just kind of sit on you permanently. They do eventually go away, but it takes a long time, and because there's so many unbreakable coins, you're pretty much always going to have a lot of negative status effects on you at any given time. And that's fine for the first half of this fight. It's honestly not that bad. But once you get into the second phase, that's when it becomes a real big problem for three specific reasons. First is, obviously, because of all of the unbreakable coins, you have a bunch of negative status effects at that point. And that means that Rufo, specifically, because she's the only one that's actually present in the second half of the fight, but she basically gets to keep all of her clash power from having negative status effects on you. In addition, she also gains max sanity, so her rolls are always going to be the highest they can possibly be. So no real RNG there that you can really work around. And perhaps most devastating of all is the fact that she cleanses all debuffs on herself, which means that you cannot take advantage of any of your own clash power conditionals. And that just makes a recipe for disaster, because yeah, you can't win any clashes. And specifically, she gets even more unbreakable coins the more. There are certain skills she has that give her unbreakable coins if you have a lot of negative status effects, which is almost guaranteed. And yeah, basically, it's possible with the Durante stuff, but I don't want to use them, so we're using just the full ring team instead. Which they are pretty good, very good in fact, at maintaining a bleed stack. A lot of them have a bunch of just bleed count, honestly, and the longer a fight goes on, the more bleed count they have. I mean, Ring Song is one of the best bleed identities, and he has been for a long time, specifically because of how much bleed count he can apply with his skill too. And then you also have the other ring identities that just have a bunch of bleed count as well. So yeah, one of the things about the ring is that they kind of struggle a little bit with bleed potency, but the new Fauvist identities really help out with that because their unique status effect, Multicolor Rouge, specifically helps out with bleed potency, because whenever you take damage with that status effect, you can gain up to 3 extra bleed potency per turn. It's not a lot, but it's kind of free, so it helps out quite a bit. And so it's like, the main way you play the ring now is you kind of have the Fauvist identities just build up their own status effects, and because of their semi-permanent nature, that allows all of the other ring identities to reach their maximum potential. And once all of the ring identities have reached their maximum potential, that's when you can actually start building bleed really effectively. And of course, because the ring now also has a Rhodia identity, you can also just like really supercharge the bleed stack by using Sanguine Desire, the ego. So that's always a nice benefit. It's always good to have bleed Rhodia identity in a bleed team, so very good that she now has 2 options that you can do. You can either do Blood Fiend or Ring, and those are honestly the 2 main bleed archetypes at this point, I'd say. And it's all because Rhodia has identities for them now, and yeah, Sanguine Desire is just really powerful. I'm not using it here because I don't want to. I don't want to use any egos at all, really, when I'm using the full team. But as you can see, the bleed stack is pretty easy to maintain. The biggest thing about this is I'm not even trying to build the bleed stack, and it just happens to do it. Of course, Kira herself, she also helps a bit, because specifically her Violet Break Slam skill, it can give up to 6 bleed count, so she really helps to maintain the bleed count. But even without that, the ring on their own would be enough to keep it alive, if you actually make sure to clash properly and not kill it prematurely without even thinking. But as long as you activate your brain at least a little bit, the ring is very easy at maintaining a bleed stack. What else is there to really say? Nothing really. The ring is just it's a well-defined archetype now, which is very good, and I think a large part of it is definitely thanks to these new Fauvist identities. They just really help to cover all of the ring's current weaknesses, most notably being the fact that they just kind of struggle to have a lot of diverse status effects. But the fact that the Fauvist identities just have, 3 unique negative debuffs naturally, it's like that alone is pretty much all you need to be able to fuel all of the ring conditionals at this point. Because they typically cap out at around 6 negative debuffs, so that's literally half of them right there. And then you also have bleed, and then the ring also do things like defense level down, bind, damage down randomly, like occasionally here and there. So it's very easy to actually get 6 negative debuffs at this point with the ring. Technically speaking, the Fauvist identities all actually have 4 negative debuffs, but one of them is kind of inconsistent. It's not that inconsistent, but it can be somewhat inconsistent, because in order to apply the 4th one, you need to have already applied the other 3. So it's still pretty easy to maintain all of it, though. Very good archetype. I like it. It's definitely... the ring has definitely become one of my favorite teams to play with, I think. It certainly helps that like all of the identities are very diverse in what they do. Yeah, they're also very synergistic with one another, because with the exception of like only bleed, all of them are very different. You got the pointillists, who just do random status effects and focus on, coin reuse. I'd say that's their main gimmick. Then you got the Corporus, which their whole thing is attack weight, and they function just like charge identities. And then finally the Fauvist identities, which are, I want to say they're the strongest, but also not really. They're the strongest because they fill in the gaps that the ring were missing. And thus, with their inclusion, I would say that they are now an actual archetype in their own right. Not just pure bleed, but ring bleed.
자, 오늘 할 거 다 끝난 거 맞지? 그럼 약속대로 이 만화책이랑 해결사 잡지 가져간다.
이 날카롭고 거친 궤적, 뜯겨나간 실처럼 엉망진창으로 도려내진 이 흉터들. 설마 거미집이 성공한 거야? 잠깐, 그럼 이럴 때가 아니지. 돌아가서 마에스트로 씨에게 말해줘야 해. 이 복도 어딘가에 모든 손가락이 탐낼 만한 걸작이 있다는 걸.
And that's how I beat the new Intervallo boss using only the ring identities. Like I said, they're pretty good now with the new addition, making them a fully fleshed out team. Very fun to use. I definitely like them a lot. By far one of my favorite archetypes in the game currently. It's gonna be hard to top them, I think. But anyways, that's it for me. Like and subscribe for more videos like this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.